It is an honor and a pleasure to be joined by Seth freaking Rollins right now ahead of the Royal Rumble, which is streaming live on Saturday, January 31st, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 11 a.m. Pacific, exclusively on ESPN in the United States and Netflix internationally. And Seth, I know you're banged up, so you won't be participating in the Rumble, but this is the road to WrestleMania. Are you healthy enough to eye WrestleMania, potentially come back, make a return there?
I mean, yeah, I mean, ultimately, the decision is not up to me, right? I do everything that they put in front of me, try to hit all my markers as far as rehabilitation is concerned, get myself ready. I think anytime you're in our profession, WrestleMania is the main goal. So, yeah, I'm eyeballing WrestleMania. I'd love to be involved in some capacity, but at the end of the day, I don't make that final call. The doctor's got to make that decision and let me know if I'm good enough to do that, and if the timeline fits. We'll see.
Got to be hard for you to sit a Rumble out. I know your wife's going to be in it. Becky Lynch, of course, you'll be watching for. Like, what's the plan? You have a watch party at the house, just you and your daughter. What's the plan for you to watch the Rumble on Saturday?
Well, I'm not gonna lie to you. The time of the event kind of runs into my daughter's Saturday activities, So while the wife is away, I'm solo dadding, and responsibilities are responsibilities. She's got her dance class, she's got her gymnastics class, so I'll be doing that. I might have it on the phone while it's going on, but we'll see how it goes.
Dude, I cannot believe I just finished watching Unreal, which I love. I know real wrestling fans sometimes have an issue with it. I love it. I'd be curious to get your thoughts on it, but I could not believe you told your 4-year-old daughter about your injury. You're keeping it a secret from everybody. You tell your daughter, and then she's telling her teacher. That is insane that you
Yeah,
would
yeah,
be.
yeah, yeah. The biggest concern was obviously getting out, but as long as there were no photographs, I had to tell her because I wasn't going to wear the stupid brace around the house. I mean, like it was enough to wear the brace and crutch around in public when for 3 weeks, going through airports and restaurants, and even taking her to school to make sure nobody took a picture of me while I was walking around. So, but I'm not doing that in my own home. So I had to tell her. I had to, this is a had to get that trust going with the kid, and she breached that trust pretty quickly.
That was funny. One of the better scenes from Unreal. More gratifying for you at SummerSlam, beating Punk and winning the title, or dropping those freaking crutches and not having to worry about carrying them around with you in the brace and all that stuff in your regular everyday life?
Oh, great question. Those were equally very nice things. I mean, in my opinion, I would love to have CM Punk never win a world championship. So that was kind of that part. It could have very easily been Gunther. I could have very easily went down there and smashed Gunther's face with that case. But Punk did gut it out. He got the W. So it was a nice little cherry on top to crush his dreams. Now he's walking around with my title. And so, there's going to be hell to pay when I get back. But yeah, as far as SummerSlam, it's tough. Those were both very, very nice things to little feathers in my cap to leave SummerSlam with the title, beat Punk, and not have to carry those stupid crutches around anymore.
From a fan's perspective, I gotta be honest with you, I was into it. I would always say I'm an expert from like 85 or 6 to like 92, but I've gone in and out over the last several years. And your storyline, like I just was following from afar. Oh, he's hurt. Oh, that sucks. I like Seth Rollins. And I got invited to SummerSlam and we went night one. And I was hoping to see what we saw. And I got to tell you, dude, it was to me, one of the great storylines. Like I love the Mega Powers or the snake biting Macho Man. Those are things that come to mind. Your storyline and that return and the fake up the walkway like it was going to be over and teasing till next time, the way you dropped the crutch, give me chills thinking about it right now. That was an unbelievable freaking moment for you at SummerSlam, executing one of the great storylines I think that I have experienced in the company, and being there to experience that had to be one of your career highlights at SummerSlam that night one.
Yeah, you look back at my cash in at WrestleMania in 2015. That's a very epic cash in, arguably one of the greatest of all time. And so there's a lot of hesitance getting the briefcase again and having to sort of replicate that energy. But when the storyline presented itself, it made a lot of sense from a perspective of everybody in the roster trying to kind of stop me from cashing in here and there. I had tried it a couple times, and so you find a way to get out of sight, out of mind. And I will say I was really happy with the way it's hard to keep a secret like that in the modern industry. I think, some secrets are easy to keep. If somebody's returning from a long absence or whatever, you can kind of hide them for a long time. But because I was active and I was a main star in a main story on our show, it's very hard to keep that secret. So the fact that we were able to, kind of get a little bit of gray area with it and then execute it the way we did, I was really happy with the final product. I hope that I never I don't have to do a third, because I don't know what I'll do next time.
Well, it was funny too, watching Unreal and seeing your wife go through it. It's just, those are things like I just wouldn't compute. Like, he's got to go through all this stuff and learn, or work the fans, but also with your wife and the real people in your life texting you, and you guys having to lie or just not tell the full truth. Was there anybody specifically for you that was the most difficult not to let them in on what was going on?
Yes, John Cena.
Wow, you didn't even tell Cena?
No, John was not aware at first. He texted me, obviously, he and I are friends. So he texted me to, send condolences and, be positive as a friend, check in. And I was like, I don't know who knows. I don't know who the brass has told. I don't know who they smartened up. So I just played dumb for as long as I could. I think like a week later, a few days later, he texted me back and was like, with, unwarranted, like he just texted again and was like, "Well played, sir. Well played." But it did hurt my feelings. I was like, "Oh, John's like," some of my closer friends that I was like, "Oh, I don't want to have to lie to you, but I don't know who's told who." And so I just had to keep it as close to the vest as possible.
So freaking good. One more on that, because I'm a big jinx guy. Like, I'm afraid to do things ahead of time until I get, like, let's say, get the job or whatever, buy a car. I'm afraid to even sit in a new car until it's mine. I just don't like, I'm a big jinx guy and worry about that stuff. Superstitious. You faking that injury, did you ever think, like, I don't want to jinx myself here? Somebody who was injured before with significant injury. I know you're banged up now, but going through that, faking that injury, did you ever think about like the bad karma that could potentially come with that?
No, I'm not really a karma guy. Maybe I should be now after I get hurt and my WrestleMania run gets cut short a little bit and my title reign and all that. So maybe I'll think twice about it. But at the time, I was just having a good time and business is business. So it was fun. I'm glad we did it, but hopefully I don't have to do it again. I don't think anybody would believe me again anyway. So.
It was awesome, and I loved it. You're right. That's probably a one and done thing. All right, your Bears. Are you over the loss yet for the Bears to the Rams in that game?
Yeah, I am. I think, after, it took a week, took a week to kind of get over it. You go back, you watch the all 22 and you go, "Oh, it was right there." And, you kind of listen to everybody talk about it. And then once we got to the conference championship games, it felt a little bit better. I had a pretty good distraction. I was in Taipei to watch Alex Honnold free climb, free solo Taipei 101, which was pretty insane. So I had a good distraction during the week. And once I came back to it and thought about it, and I just couldn't believe that was my team this year. The cardiac Bears, like, come from behind, Iceman, Caleb Williams, like it felt like it was too good to be true. And so it was a really fun season. I thought, they had no business winning the North this year, even though I did predict it. It was really an incredible season, and it was sad to see it get cut short because I do think we could have fought our way to the Super Bowl. But the future is bright in Chicago.
Where does the week before that comeback against the Packers? I mean, that was an incredible game. I was shocked. I thought the Packers would win, especially watching the game, the first half of the game. Where does that rank in your fandom as far as great wins for the Bears?
I mean, in my lifetime, that's the biggest Chicago Bears win I've ever seen. I don't think there's any. I was around for the Super Bowl in '08 or '07, whatever it was.
Right.
The Devin Hester return.
Yep.
But you lost that game, and that team was like that was a dominant defense. Like, that team was good all year long, even with like Rex Grossman as the quarterback. Like, they were an elite defense and kind of had been good under Lovie Smith for a little bit. Beating the Packers at home in the playoffs the way that they did after basically being a doormat for Green Bay for the past 30 years, it really set the stage for what felt like a different future for the Bears for the first time in a long time. So it was so nice to see that. I mean, I don't think, yeah, I mean, there's nothing that jumps off the page, but I mean, if you go back, I was born in '86, so I missed the Super Bowl. I don't think there was any game in my lifetime that was as big of a win as that game.
Have you had a chance to meet like Ben Johnson or Caleb Williams or any of the boys yet?
You know, Caleb and I have exchanged some DMs a little bit here and there, and I got a strange point from Ben Johnson on the sideline before the second Packers regular season game, where they came back and won in dramatic fashion as well. So he's aware of my fandom, but I haven't had the opportunity to meet him. Had a couple of sit downs with Kevin Warren, president of the Bears, and some of the guys and stuff like that. But when it's game day, they're doing their thing, so it's hard to get around and be too much. Maybe in the off season, I'll be in Santa Clara next week for the Super Bowl, so maybe some of those guys will stop through, check us out at Good Morning Football, and we'll see. I'd love to meet Caleb, man. He's a cool kid, and I'm excited that he's a quarterback of the team for the future.
You mentioned the climb there. Somebody told me about that last night. I was like, "Oh, I'm having Seth on the podcast tomorrow," and they was like, "Oh, he was doing commentary on that." I have not had a chance to watch it yet. I'm going to. What was that like watching that live and commenting on it? The climb here with obviously a ridiculous feat.
Yeah, I mean, Alex Honnold is a unique human being. I mean, there's just not too many people that would want to climb a skyscraper with no safety precautions in place. I mean, it's 2,000 feet into the air. It's pretty insane. And to see it live and to watch all of Taipei gather around the Taipei 101 to support him and to see that happen, it was super unique. I became a fan of Alex after watching his Free Solo documentary maybe 7 or 8 years ago, and was fascinated by his mindset and what he does to prepare for something like that and why he does something like that. And now years later, he's got a wife and kids. When he free soloed El Capitan, he did not. And so to see him still doing that and what his process is, it was really an incredible, like, once in a lifetime opportunity. I hope I never have to see him do that again because it was absolutely nail biting.
Yeah, that is insane. And from a risk taker yourself and all your colleagues and performers in the ring, that is just next level to be able to do that. All right. Royal Rumble streams live Saturday, January 31st, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 11 a.m. Pacific, exclusively on ESPN in the United States and Netflix internationally. Before we let you go, Seth, and we really do appreciate your time, and you are legit one of my favorites now. Seth freaking Rollins with that huge pop. The SummerSlam thing was awesome. Bada Boom's our producer here is a huge mark. So much so that he's like, should I wear the, like, he's got an original Seth Rollins shirt or whatever. I was like, all right, dude, you're not paying much money. We appreciate your work. He's earned the right to ask you a question here. If you don't mind, we'll have Bada Booms hop in. Seth freaking Rollins, a question that you want.
This is your time to shine. Oh, you look like a Seth Rollins fan. Look at you.
Thank you. Look at this.
Nice.
See, I was kind of doing, even though I'm really a Punk fan, but I go back to the Tyler Black Danielson days. All right, to get your sense. And I was debating, what question do I ask him? Do I go Parkway Drive or do I go Shield? So I'm going to go Shield. I've always wanted to ask this.
Go.
Was there ever a conversation of the Shield triple threat at Mania? Was that ever a thought?
Yes, it was a thought. So a little bit of inside baseball. The initial breakup for the Shield was meant to be at WrestleMania 30. Roman Reigns was going to wrestle Dean Ambrose with Seth Rollins as a special guest referee. I wasn't even going to be included in the match. Luckily, that idea got jettisoned. We ended up having a pretty good next year run. We did, a little, not a year, but a few more months. We got the six mans with Evolution in there, which were really good. Obviously, you get the iconic heel turn. And then we ended up doing the triple threat randomly on a Battleground pay-per-view, if I'm not mistaken. And all three of us, Roman, Dean, and myself, fought against the idea of doing the triple threat match at Battleground because we believed it was a WrestleMania main event. We were overruled by our overlord at the time, who is no longer a part of this organization. And to this day, I think, at least for me, it's one of the bigger regrets I have that we didn't get to do that match properly and tell the proper story at the biggest pay-per-view of the year. So there you go. That's my story. And there was many conversations about it, why it happened, when it should have happened. And for me, I have a regret that we didn't get it done the right way.
All right, there you have it. You good, Bada Booms?
Yeah, thank you. No, I appreciate that a lot. Can I get the Parkway Drive-In one? Is that
Go ahead, real
too
quick.
much?
Come on.
I know you're a big Parkway Drive fan. So am I. Is there ever maybe use one of their songs in the future? Is that a possibility?
I don't want to ruin this for you, but there has been a bit of a fracture in the relationship between myself and Parkway Drive.
Oh,
Yeah, I can't comment on it too much, but it's not great, and it breaks my heart a little bit. So I'm sorry for that, my friend.
that kills.
All right.
That kills.
Bada Booms, we
Thank you.
appreciate it. Good questions there. Last one from me, Seth. And again, we really appreciate your time. I mentioned Unreal a lot. I love it. You were featured in it. It was great. Do you enjoy it? Or like, are you watching it back? Do you think it's good for the business? Where are you at with Unreal?
No, I can't watch it. I think it's just I grew up in a different era, and it's hard for me to. I think anybody who's been in the business for longer than like 5 or 6 years, it's kind of hard for us to wrap our head around what that does, you know. And I think there's plenty of perspectives to be had on it. You know, it's one of those things where that's the direction the business was going. It's you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube, so I don't really think there was like there's no reason not to do it in the sense that somebody was going to do it anyway. You know, you look at, you all the way back to Beyond the Mat, and there's been documentaries that have, talked about what happens behind the scenes. So I think kind of like going, oh, we should do this and go back to the old ways. Like that's a bit silly, but still it goes against all of like the grain in my body, just what's been built in me for years to just go full throttle with it. So I do think one thing about our business that's really helpful is the secrets, like being able to keep just a little bit of gray area, because we blend reality and storytelling in ways that no other industry really does, entertainment industry. And so I think having that little gray area, like you mentioned the cash in a lot, you don't really know, you might think, and I think that's fun. But when you know what's happening, when you're watching wrestling, it's just not as interesting. It's like having a movie spoiled for you. So I think there's some gray area that we need to keep that helps our business be what makes it special and what makes it different. But at the same time, I understand what we're trying to accomplish with Unreal. And I do think it shines a light on the sort of introspective and deep side of our business that, I think people might overlook if you just look at it at a surface level. So I do like that it gives people a deeper appreciation for the art form of the storytelling that we do in professional wrestling. But yeah, still, it's hard for me. I can't watch it. Like I can't sit down and get behind it. I watched half of like one episode in season 1 and I was like, I'm out. I can't do it.
Well, take my word for it. You were fantastic in it. Thank you for the moment at SummerSlam. It was something that I'll never forget. It was great, and we appreciate your time. Seth freaking Rollins, Royal Rumble streaming live Saturday, January 31st, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 11 a.m. Pacific, exclusively on ESPN in the United States and Netflix internationally. Thanks, Seth.
Thank you, brother.